Today I'm presenting, at viewer request, comparison of a Kawai K-800 versus a Yamaha U3. Stick around, this one's going to be fun. Hi, this is Ted Barsula with Alamo Piano Galleries. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and list those. We like to interact with the viewership. Speaking of which, this video is one where I've had requests to put one up against the other and give thoughts and responses. And again, these are my personal thoughts and responses. And I always tell people that whatever they like, doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but they're the one that's going to be using it and paying for it. So that's their decision. And but don't tell the sales managers that, because sometimes it's not always what they want us to do. But at the same time, we're talking about two 52-inch pianos, with the exception the K300 is 53 inches. It's a little bit taller than the U3. And the Yamaha U3 is 52-inch upright piano. The Kawai K-800 is a 53-inch upright piano. And I was fortunate enough, the first time I played one of the K-800s, it was at a headquarter convention type of thing for Kawai. And there was a line to play this piano. And I'm so happy we've had a couple of them come through the store, and I've been able to do some special feature videos on that as well. So speaking of which, in this video, you're going to hear a Yamaha U3 that is remanufactured and refurbished. It is as like new as it can be, but it's on an older frame. And it is compared to a K-800 that is essentially a brand new Kawai piano. There is a difference in the two pianos. There is a difference in the fairness of this comparison. However, it's what we had at the moment, and we had a request for the comparison. And since we use such a phenomenal Earthworks 3.0 something microphone system, both of these pianos sound incredibly large, incredibly big. And with that, I'm going to let that prior knowledge that one is not brand new come into play. Keep that in the back of your mind, but have a really good listen to these two pianos, because they're not that far off. And when you're thinking in terms of price, remember in this instance, the U3 is going to be a much more affordable alternative, because they go for a fraction of what they go for if they were brand new. And they also go for a fraction of what a new Kawai K-800 costs. So with that, let's have a good, fair listen. First response, what do you think? What I think is the U3 does have a tendency to sound like a bit of an older piano. I don't know if that's the wood talking or listening, but at the same time, the K-800 to me has a much larger, fuller sound. Now, I have played and I have not compared a brand new U3 to a brand new K-800. I haven't been around when those two things were available. I have played tons of brand new U3s and a number of K-800s, and I will tell you that the first time I played a K-800, the first thing I thought of is this piano makes a U3 to me sound like a big U1. So the comparison between a U1 and a U3 is probably more critical to anyone that favors the industry standard Yamaha over something else. Compare a U1 and a U3 Yamahas and find out, is there really that big of a difference? And then compare a K300 with a K800, and there is a difference. A K800, I think, is probably the absolute one of the best uprights I've ever played. I have played on a number of very expensive uprights that are German manufactured, and those are incredibly wonderful instruments, but they go for about 2 to 3 times the price. And if you're really that much of a piano aficionado, it's worth it. Now, back to the Kawai K-800 versus the Yamaha U3. If you're fortunate enough to be able to play those next to one another and they're both brand new pianos, I don't know which one I could tell you to purchase other than the one that plays the way you think it should play and sounds the way that you think it should sound. However, I will say in the overall design, you will be able to hear that the reason why Yamaha has become so popular, even in the U1 and in the U3, is because there are a lot of recordings that feature those pianos for the one particular reason, is that they're really excellent in the mid and high range, and they cut through above ensembles better than most. A Kawai is not anywhere near as bright or cut through as a Yamaha U3 would be, but at the same time, in a solo instance, the Kawai has a much richer, larger, grander tone, and I just like the fact that both of these pianos have long strings and large soundboards, and it's inches away from your head when you're playing it. They're more fun to play to me than some large grand pianos because the soundboard goes out that way and the sound goes up and down. On an upright piano, it goes straight through your skull, and that's part of the rock and roll experience, and that's why you see a lot of rock bands and people touring with upright pianos, is because they want to be able to not just hear the sound, but feel the vibration coming through the piano down through the pedals in their foot. So I'm looking for your response and your questions and comments and overall statements about which piano would you choose and which one would you recommend to someone if you're not the one paying for it. That's always a salesman's ultimate dilemma. Fortunately, some salesmen may have both of these options available to them through some superstore or some super friend relationship they have. That's something worth pursuing. But putting a K-800 up against anything that's been refurbished and remanufactured that is not brand new is only fair to a certain point, and part of that is price. When you get to the K-800 versus the U3, and part of your negotiating process is the delivery of this piano, because they're pretty heavy and takes a pretty well-informed crew, but the other thing is which one is going to cost you less money in the end, and you'll almost always find out that will be the Kawai product because they're not really recognized as the industry standard, although they are recognized as making the premier piano of Japan. There's a reason why they have that as their logo or slogan. With that, I'll remind you that coming up in a couple weeks from September 26th to 29th, you'll be able to have your choice pick of refurbished, remanufactured, or slightly used Yamaha instruments from the university, as well as Kawai. We're having our annual Kawai University sale, and we do put some of our other pianos on sale as well because we do attract all of the alumni. And if you are friends of alumni or want to come visit the sale, make some advance reservations. There are days that are open to the public, generally the last day of the sale. It's a wonderful time to get great instruments because the manufacturer and the store allow us to cut margins and make discounts, and you can get the same quality piano at large discounts and fractions of their usual going cost. With that, I'll remind you, I am Ted Barsulu with Alamo Piano Galleries. I thank you for watching and listening, and I look forward to your questions, comments, and statements about this comparison. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.